I'm Emily and welcome. This is 108 Stitches, which is a mostly knitting video podcast. Sorry, Norm wants to be covered. Mostly knitting video podcast, but sometimes I chat a little bit about other crafty things and also sometimes chat about baseball. Also sometimes chat about my pup Norman, who is up here with me on the couch today. Although he seems to want to be covered and take a little nap. Longtime viewers of the podcast may remember Norman has this quirk that he likes to burrow when he sleeps. He really likes to be completely covered by a blanket. But anyway, yes, this is 108 Stitches. And again, my name is Emily. I live in Seattle, Washington with my pup Norman and my husband Nafis. And, oh, okay, there's a lot to cover today. There's a lot that I have to talk about. It feels like it's been a while. I feel like every time I podcast now, I say that. I guess when I started out last year, I was podcasting like, not every week, but pretty consistently every week or every 2 weeks. And I have not been able to keep that up recently. Things have been busy and we've been out of town and it has just been really kind of hectic time in our lives. So it has been, I think, about a month since the last time that I recorded. And I really, really wanted to record the last couple weeks and just could not find the time. But I'm really glad that I'm getting to sit down and chat with you all now. It feels like it's been forever and I've missed it, to be honest with you. And because it's been a long time, I feel like this is going to be a really long one. So I hope you're prepared. And if you're not, just, skip it or just watch part of it. I don't know. But there's a lot to talk about. I've got tons of knitting to talk about. And then I've got tons of other stuff to talk about. I've got baseball to talk about. I've got some acquisitions. I've got stuff that we have cooked and baked, and my sister and her boyfriend visited and we went on vacation, so I've got stuff to share from that. So it's going to probably be a pretty long one, and I'm just so excited to sit down and chat through it all with you. And yeah, so I guess let's go ahead and get started. So before I jump into my finished objects, of which there are several, just also wanted to talk about the knit along that's happening right now. I have not been a super attentive knit along host because of all the reasons that I talked about at the beginning, but there is a knit along happening and it's set to end this Friday. So today is Monday, October 25th, and the knit along is set to end this Friday. I'm thinking about extending it. Would anyone like that? Would anyone be interested in me extending it? I don't know. I just feel like I could give it a little bit more attention if I let it go another week or two at least. I may not officially extend it, but I won't draw for prizes maybe for another couple weeks. So if you have not yet joined and you're interested in joining, please do. So the knit along is called the Stripey Turtle KAL, and that's the hashtag that you can use on Instagram if you are interested in participating. Let's see. Yeah, so basic rules, there are not a ton. Whips are welcome as far as both on the beginning end and on the end. So if you don't have to finish your tank to participate in the knit along. You don't have to have started it during this time period to participate in the knit along. Any in progress, even if someone finished their Stripey Turtle tank a couple days before the knit along started, I'm so relaxed about this. So, really basically any post on Instagram, it has to be a grid post. Stories won't work because I need for them all to be there when I draw for prizes. So any post to your grid using the hashtag Stripey Turtle KAL with a photo of an in progress or a finished Stripey Turtle tank will get you entered for some prizes. And I am so excited about the prizes that I have to share with you. So the Stripey turtle tank is really great for scraps, but also really great for mini skeins. And I love mini skeins, and I love mini skein sets, and I love just the color combinations that like beautiful yarn dyers put together. It's just one of my very favorite things. So I have some mini skein sets as prizes for the knit along. So let me show you these that I got for prizes. So the first one is one that you guys have seen, and I think I talked about this originally when I talked about the prizes, so this shouldn't be a surprise to any of you, but, oh, Norman, are you leaving us? Oh, we've got some good Norman peaks today. I feel like he's being a cute little weirdo for us today, which we love. We'll see if he settles back down or if he leaves or if he just hangs out like this. But, oh, plop. Okay. Anyway, I have 3 mini skein sets from some of my very favorite dyers that I'm going to be giving away as prizes. So there will be 3 winners for the Stripey Turtle KAL. The first is this beautiful mini skein set from Woolberry Fiber Company. And this is from their Under the Sea collection that happened a while ago, and I got this beautiful set, which I really love. It's called Fish Are Friends. Has a couple blues, this really gorgeous purple, and then this one is actually called Mine, Mine, Mine from the birds from Finding Nemo. And it is the main color in, I'm using it as the main color in a Stripey Turtle tank that I'm knitting right now. So I'll show you all that in a second, but I love this color. And then there's one that's a little bit pinker as well. So could be some fun like low contrast stripes. These, if you wanted to make a Stripey Turtle tank with it, you can make anything you want. Also, you know, I mentioned that a question that I have gotten pretty often is whether I think I'll design again, and I was kind of hesitant to say definitely yes, but I have at least a couple other ideas, and I will just say that all of my ideas that I have, I'm just really drawn to mini skeins and like scraps. So if you win one of these prizes, you could knit a Stripey Turtle tank. You could also hang on to it, and if you wait for a while, an unknown amount of time, there may be another Emily Curtis design that you can use your mini skeins for. So there's that. Then another set I got, you'll know that I love Grenouille. If you watch this podcast, you know that like 50% of, at this point more, like so much of what I knit with is Grenouille. I love her yarn, but I got her fall inspired mini skein set as a giveaway prize as well. So it is so pretty. This one is this like minty one, is the same yarn that I used for my Woodwardia that I showed in the last episode that I just finished. And then this is Lampblack, which is my very favorite gray and like one of my favorite yarn colors of all time. I love it. I use it all the time. And then this one is Umber, and I use that in my, as one of the colors in my Luminaria shawl, which I finished and I'll show you shortly. And I love this color too. So I just love this set. This teal is really nice as well. I think it has like perfect fall vibes, and I love a lot of the colors in it. It's hard for me not to keep this one for myself, but I'd love to give it away to one of you. So there's that. And then the third mini skein set is Stress Knits Fall set. So sorry if this is a little crinkly. I'll try to be quick and quiet, but this is her, oh my, look at this, y'all. It's so beautiful. This is her fall mini skein set, and it is inspired, let me take it actually out of the plastic so you can see the colors better. It is inspired by her favorite pumpkins, and as soon as I saw her color inspiration on her Patreon, I knew. I was like, I love this. I'm so obsessed with these colors. So there's like a cream, a pink, a little like bluish mint kind of color. This orange, which generally I'm not like super drawn to orange, but I love this orange. And then this kind of like cool gray green. also a huge fan. So I love these colors. This will exist in the acquisition section as well, but I actually got one of these sets for myself as well. And the tentative plan is for me to knit up a new design using this set. So if you participate in the knit along and you win that set, you could potentially have a matching design, new design, unnamed design to me if that's something that you're into. So yes, those are the 3 prizes. I'm really excited about them. And if you haven't yet posted about your stripy turtle tank, go ahead and do that in the next week or so that you can be entered to win those prizes. So yeah, again, hashtag StripeyTurtleKAL on Instagram. And yeah, I think that's all I had on that. So I'll go ahead and start sharing my finished objects. So I have, I think, 5 finished objects to share with you. How nuts is that? I have 5. They're not all knitting. I have a sewing finished object, and I also have an embroidery finished object. So maybe let's start with the knitting though. So we'll just go ahead and start with the big one. So, oh, Norman's actually on it. He's being very cute right now. I wish he was on the screen and you could see him. I'm gonna take this out from under your head, okay, bud? Okay, yeah. Okay, I finished my Luminaria shawl. So this one, maybe I'll talk about this at some point in the episode. I had set some pretty ambitious goals for myself that I want, like knitting goals that I wanted to meet before we went on vacation last week. And one of them was that I wanted to finish my Luminaria shawl before we went, because I really had this vision in my mind of taking finished object photos in, like, on the trip somewhere, like on a hiking trail or like amidst these like fall. Hi, so you may have noticed that it is a different day. Unfortunately, when I went last night to edit the podcast and get it uploaded, I realized that there was just a chunk of video in the middle that was missing. So I actually re-recorded that chunk last night, and I was just so upset with the like light quality. You couldn't see the colors of anything because it was dark, and I had just like the lights in my home on, and the artificial light was so bad that I decided that I would re-record again today. So today is now Tuesday, October 26th, and I'm going to record this little bit again, and then I'll paste it back to the rest of the video. So where I left off, I believe, was showing my Luminaria shawl. So what I was actually talking about, I think, was how I really wanted to finish this shawl before our trip, because I had this like idea in my mind that I wanted to take finished object photos on the trip somewhere. So like, you know, in a hiking trail, or like maybe just somewhere where I thought there were going to be like beautiful fall colors. I just had this, I don't know, because the fall colors of the shawl, I just had this idea in my mind. And I was really disappointed when I wasn't able to finish the shawl and block it before we left. But I actually ended up binding off the shawl on the train on the way to the airport. And then I wove all the ends in on the plane, like on the flight. And there were a lot of ends because you can see all the different colors. There were a lot of ends to weave in. So I did all of that on the flight, and then I actually brought a little bit of wool wash and I blocked it at our first hotel. And yeah, I'm really happy with the way that it turned out. I was able to take finished object photos on the trip, and I'll try to include a photo or two here for you to see. I'll also post them on Instagram. Norm are you itchy right now? What's up, bug? Yeah, okay. Anyway, yeah, I was able to take finished object photos, and generally I'm just like really happy with the way that it turned out. So here it is. This is the Luminaria shawl by Lindsey Fowler, and the colors that I used, the main color is actually left over from my soiree sweater. It is Viola sock in the colorway Silverbirch, which is just like a really nice kind of like OD neutral. It does have like little flecks. I know. It does have like little flecks of like orange and pink. Norman, sit. There you go. As well, but mostly just kind of like an oak color. And then I used 10 of my minis from my Grenouille 2020 Advent. I picked all of like the blues and the, oh my goodness, I don't know if you could hear that. That was a big burp from Norman. He just went and drank a ton of water. So, yes. So I used my 10 of my Grenouille Advent minis from the 2020 Advent, so from last year's Advent, and I picked the blues and greens and oranges just because I felt like they went together really nicely and made this like really beautiful kind of fall color palette. I think I talked about this before, but when I constructed the shawl, or like when I knit it, I decided to use a random number generator to determine what color I was going to use next. And at the beginning, I stuck to that. Like, I really stuck to it. So whatever the random number generator said, I did. And it resulted in some things that I didn't love, like 2 pretty similar colors next to each other. Oh, I did have one rule, which was just, I'm not going to do the same color twice in a row. But otherwise, I did exactly what it said. And then it got to the point where like I was going to be doing a single color like 3 times before I did another color even once. And so rather than just kind of deciding what color I wanted to go next and going off of that, I limited the pool of options and continued to use the number generator. So like I would decide, okay, I want my next color to be anything except this one. And so then I would do the random number generator, and if I got the one that was excluded, I would just do it again until I got what I wanted. And so I did that for a while, and then toward the end, like I wanted to have at least 2 stripes of each color, or yeah. So by the end it would be like, okay, I want it to be one of these like 3 colors or something like that. And so then I would like hit the button until I got one of those 3. So it wasn't truly random, but I still liked that I kind of like removed at least one layer of the decision making. And it was just really fun. I love the way that it turned out. I think the randomness is really fun. Oh, also I should talk about my modification. I modified the edging. So the pattern as written has like a lace edging all across the bottom. And I mean, it's really beautiful. And I think part of the reason that she did that was just because this is kind of like stockinette, so it curls. And so the lace edging really helps it kind of flatten out. But I wanted a little bit of like a cleaner finish. I didn't want the lace. So what I did was added 2 more of these kind of like stripe sections to make it a little bit longer. And then I just did an I-cord bind off all around the bottom. And I'm really happy with the way that it looks. I know that it's going to curl up more, and so I'm probably going to have to block it like once or twice every season probably. And I had to block it actually pretty aggressively. When I blocked it, I folded the edge over to give it a little bit of an extra kind of push not to curl up. But it's stayed pretty well so far. When I put it on, sometimes it like curls around. Like, yeah, you can see it over here, kind of like curling. But I can kind of, that's probably partially because of the way that I have it laid out, so I can like lay it out a little bit better. But yeah, I'm really happy with the shawl. I think it turned out really nice. And I think it's just the epitome of like the perfect fall shawl. I think the colors, of course, like very much feel like fall to me. But also it's like a fingering weight shawl. So it's like a little bit lighter, not like kind of like a heavy DK shawl that you might want for winter. And it's just like a really nice size. It feels almost like plaid, which feels like a fall thing to me, I guess. Yeah, and I'm just really happy with the way that it turned out. So that is my Luminaria shawl, and I'm really glad that I finished it and was able to take photos on our trip. So that is my first finished object, and then I knit a couple of hats that I wanted to share with you. So one, I had originally hoped that I'd be able to finish this hat before we went on vacation, but unfortunately that did not happen. But I actually finished it while we were on vacation, and I didn't block it on the trip or anything, but I still wore it some on the trip. But this is the Oslo hat by Petite Knit, and I knit it out of Grenouille Lampblack in her 8515 DK base, 85% merino, 15% nylon, which is one of my very favorite bases. I love this yarn. It's just like so squishy and really soft and nice to work with. This is the same base that I used for my Woolberry sweater. And I just really love this yarn. But the Oslo hat is just like a pretty simple hat. It's actually right here around the ears is 3 layers. The construction is actually really unique. You knit, and then after a while you end up kind of like knitting your live stitches with your cast on edge to make like a folded brim. And then you do like a weird like flip and do kind of like some, it's not, I guess it's kind of like some, it's not purling because you, well, I don't know. I don't want to give it all away, but basically you have the folded part and then you knit it so that you fold it over again. So this part is like folded, you can see. And then when you wear it, you fold it over again. And there's like some extra almost like purl stitches in here that make it lay nicely when you fold it. And then when you put it on, it's 3 layers here around the ears. I just really like it. I feel like it's a really nice basic hat, super warm. Originally, actually, I have knit this pattern before. I knit it for my brother. And I knit, I think like the second size. I think there may be like 4 or 5 sizes, but I knit the second size for him and it ended up being a little big. I didn't gauge swatch, so my gauge was probably just off. But since I used like the same needles and same yarn as well this time, I went ahead and just knit the smallest size. And I also like have a really small head. And so I knit the smallest size and I think it fits pretty well. I'm worried when I block it, it's going to be too big. But I really do want to block it just to like let it kind of settle a little bit. So I'll probably block it, and then I don't know if I mentioned this, but I'm hoping to make the same hat for my husband as well. Not this, I want us to both have these like gray Oslo hats. I was hoping to finish them both before our trip, but I didn't make that. But if I block this one and it's too big, I may just give it to him because his head is bigger than mine. And then I'll just knit another one smaller. Well, we'll see. Depending on like how it blocks out, I may keep it and then knit one bigger for him. But yeah, so this is the Oslo hat. And then the other hat that I finished is a baby hat. So I knit this one just really quick, kind of like in an afternoon. I think I knit it while we were watching an OU football game like a couple weeks ago, which, yeah, I guess it's been a couple weeks ago. I really need to get this to the person that I knit it for, but this is a pattern from, a free pattern from Purl Soho. I think it's part of their newborn hat collection. This is either like the basic one or they may have like a striped one. I don't remember, but I don't remember if the pattern had twisted rib or just normal rib, but I did twisted rib on the edge. And then I just did 2 row stripes. This is my very favorite, same as the stripey turtle tank, and I used some just like leftover yarns that I had. I think they're actually all Grenouille, but I can show you a little bit closer. The bottom one is Knocked Music, and then the green one is With Nail, then that gray is Lampblack, and the light green is Wormwood. Some of my very favorite colors. But this is a baby hat. I forgot to say who it's for. This is a baby hat for one of my coworkers just had a baby. So this is for little baby Eli, and I need to block it. I did the weave in Steven method on the inside, so I won't need to like weave in the ends or anything. But I have one, I think, on the edge that I need to weave in, but I'll just block it and trim them, and then I will send it off so that baby Eli can have a warm head. So that is my next finished object. And then let's see, next up, so that's all I have for the knitting finished objects, but like I mentioned at the beginning, I have a sewing and an embroidery finished object. So the sewing finished object, if you follow me on Instagram, you've probably already seen. This is my dress that I made for the Hometown 9 Diamond Dinner. And I wore to the dinner, which was very exciting. I don't know, I feel very accomplished that I made something that I was able to wear to an event like that. That just makes me feel very proud. But this is the McCalls M7777, 4 sevens, I think. Is just the bodice part. So I use that pattern for the bodice, and then I actually use Jacqueline Salem's video tutorial for a self-drafted half circle skirt, and then I just sewed that onto the bottom of the bodice, and that is it. So I mean, I can't really, you won't be able to see the whole thing. I'll stand on the couch again, but here it is. The length is like just kind of like midi length, like mid shin or so. And oh, one other modification that I made was I didn't put the zipper in the back. I thought that I would be able to pull it over my head, and I was right. It's a little tricky to get off, but I was too nervous to do a zipper, so I just seamed up the back and didn't do a zipper. So yeah, this was kind of a big step forward, I think, for me, for my sewing. This project was definitely harder than other projects that I've made. I mean, I guess I made a pair of pants, but this was, I don't know, the bodice, there was a lot that was new to me that were things I hadn't done before, especially with the lining, doing like lining fabric along with the like outer fabric was definitely new. But I'm really proud of it. I'm really happy with how it turned out. I mean, of course, it's not perfect. There are things that I would want to change. I did end up actually, when I was wearing it, it's pretty low cut. So I put dress tape on to make sure that it didn't gape. But otherwise, I'm actually pretty happy with how it turned out. The fabric is from Blackbird Fabrics. I don't remember the name of the fabric. I'm not well versed enough. It was like a viscose something. I don't remember exactly, but it has these really sweet little flowers on it. Let me show you. It's got like little, I think they're dandelions, maybe. I don't know if it'll focus. Yeah, but really sweet little flowers. And yeah, I'm just really happy with the way that it turned out. Again, like I said, it feels like a big deal to me that I was able to make something that I could wear to an event like that and not feel like really uncomfortable, because I'm definitely not at that point in my sewing. Or I guess I am, since I did it. But I just feel definitely less comfortable with my sewing. With my knitting, I'm much more confident if I make something that I'll be able to do what I need to do to get it into what I consider to be like wearable. Like I can make the changes that I need to make. I'm really confident I'll be able to get the knitted garment or whatever into a state where I'm like excited to wear it, and I'm just much less confident about my sewing. But the fact that I was able to do this was, yeah, really exciting to me. And the dinner was also lovely. So I think I've talked about the Hometown 9 briefly before, but the Hometown 9 is a really cool program that the Mariners do that they select 8th grade students, 9 8th grade students each year that come from disadvantaged groups, and pair them with mentors in the Mariners front office just to kind of provide any guidance. We meet every month and just chat about things that are going on in their lives, or, you know, as they get closer to college, we'll talk about resumes and applying to colleges and like all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I feel really lucky that I get to be a part of the Hometown 9. And I was a mentor for, or I still am a mentor for the first class of students, which started last year. So they were 8th graders last year and they're 9th graders now. And then I also have a student that I'm mentoring in the next class, which they just started. So I have an 8th grade student and a 9th grade student. And then this dinner, this event, was all the mentors and all the students from both classes together, just giving everyone an opportunity to kind of meet and hang out and chat. We had a really lovely dinner. We also got to hang out on the field a little bit, have appetizers, take pictures, that kind of thing. And it was really fun. Unfortunately, one of my students wasn't able to make it, but we still had a great time. And yeah, I just, again, am really proud that I was able to make my dress for it. So yeah, I think this is about where the next video will start back up. So I'll go ahead and paste that together. And I really appreciate y'all's, just sticking with me through what ended up being technical difficulty. So thank you. And then my last finished object is very wet right now because I did not have forethought, but is an embroidery project that actually went to a class with a friend a couple weeks ago. I think I mentioned this in maybe my last podcast or the one before that. I mentioned that I was going to an embroidery class, and I did. It was for this little bee. So I embroidered, I hope you can see this well. Yeah, I embroidered this little bee and the leaves around it onto this t-shirt. And I was doing laundry, and so this was in the washer, and I was about to put it in the dryer, and I realized, oh, I'm about to podcast, I should show this. So I pulled it out, and that's why, well, I mean, you can't probably tell. Well, maybe you can tell. You can't feel it, but it's wet right now. So I'm gonna go put that back in the dryer after I'm done here. But yeah, it was fun. I've done a little bit of embroidery before, just like I embroidered some flowers onto a hat for my sister, and I was actually in progress of doing the same for myself, like embroidering some flowers on a hat for, like, on a ball cap for myself. And that was a project that was in my backpack when we were on vacation, and we were actually at a hiking trail, and someone broke the window of our rental car and stole my backpack. And so I lost that hat that was in progress, and I lost some socks that I was knitting, and then I also lost, like, my computer and you know, some other stuff, my wallet. So after that, I was just, for some reason, like, it didn't turn me off of knitting, but for some reason it really turned me off of embroidery. I think partially just, I didn't love embroidery to begin with, and I was almost done with the hat. Like, I was hoping to finish it on that trip so I could wear it. So I think I was just kind of like, okay, I'm done with this. But I decided I wanted to go to the class with my friend, and so I did. I went, and it was fun, and that was a quick project that didn't take very long, and I'm really happy with how it turned out. I actually wore the shirt on our vacation. So yeah, that is all of my finished objects. 5 feels like a lot. No sweaters, I guess, but you know, a couple hats and a pretty big shawl and some sewing and embroidery. So anyway, those are my finished objects, and then I can share with you what I'm working on right now. So I really only have 2 things that I'm pretty actively working on. I have some others, like, active projects, as in they're, like, cast on, like, on the needles, but I haven't really worked on them for a while. So I'll just show you the 2 that I'm working on pretty actively right now. These are the ones I brought on the trip with me. So the first is my stripey turtle tank. So I wanted to join in the fun and cast on a stripey turtle tank as part of the knit along. So I did that, and this is my 4th stripey turtle tank. I'm actually wearing my original. This is my first stripey turtle tank. And then I knit one out of the Forest Walk set from Mel, Big Little Yarn Co. She put some kits together for the stripey turtle tank release, and I knit one out of one of those kits. And then I also knit a extra cropped one for my sister in some Grenouille yarn, some Advent minis, as well as Lampblack as the main color. And then this is my 4th one. So I am using, like I mentioned earlier, for the main color, this is Mine, 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 which is a color from Woolberry Fiber Company, from their Under the Sea collection, and it's just the palest pink. It's really like a creamy pink. Actually, I think next to some of the colors it looks white, and next, or like cream, and next to some of them it looks more pink. If you look at the ribbing at the bottom, I feel like it looks a little bit pink. I'm not sure how it's showing up kind of on camera here. And then the minis are a mini set, or the stripes, the colors, contrast colors, are a mini set from Sewrella. I think that's how you say it. From their Disneyland collection, or Disney World collection. And I'm trying to remember, I don't remember the names of the colorways. They're tonals that correspond to some of their variegated yarns that were named mostly off of, like, rides in the park. I think This dark one is from Space Mountain. I know the green one is from Haunted Mansion. This reddish one, I actually have a full skein of that I haven't used yet. This like pinkish red is from Thunder Mountain. The pink one I think is from the Pirates of the Caribbean ride. And then this one, this like periwinkle one, I think is from Epcot. Or those are kind of the inspiration of those colors, but I love them. I love the colors together. I think these stripes are really nice. And yeah, I'm really happy with it. I think it's turning out really nice. I finished the body and am working on the front. So if you're not familiar with the construction of this pattern, it is started at the bottom and then you knit a tube for the body and then you split for the front and the back and do the front and back flat and then you join it back up the top of the shoulders, add a little ribbed neckline and then do I-cord bind-offs around the armholes. So that is, yeah, that's my progress on that and I'm really happy with it. I'll probably try to finish this. I'd love to finish it before the knit along is over. So if I could finish it in the next week or so, that would be really good. It's a really quick knit, especially at this point. The front and the back go really fast, so I think I'll probably finish it then. And then my other active work in progress is actually a test knit that I'm doing for Rachel. Rachel Knits Things is her Instagram, and she has some of the most beautiful patterns. I feel like she's done a lot of patterns that I really love. This is actually the first one I've ever knit of hers though, but I have admired a ton of them. But I am test knitting the Riley tee, which is a DK weight t-shirt with kind of skinny, longer sleeves, and then it has this really cool twisted rib detailing. So these are, I don't know if you can tell, these are the shoulders. I think this is actually the back. This is the back or the front? This is the back. So this is the back, and then these are like this top part here, these are the shoulders. So you can see there's like a really beautiful twisted rib here and here on top of the shoulders, and that continues like down the sleeves, kind of down off of the shoulders onto the sleeves. And I am knitting this out of some Big Little Yarn Co. Bramble, which is probably my favorite color that Melanie dyes. I love it. When we were trying to plan the kits for the Stripey Turtle tank, I wanted to put Bramble in every single kit. I love Bramble. And it's just this beautiful kind of like reddish brown, purpley almost. And it's just beautiful. It's knitting up beautifully. I'm really happy with it. This is actually her soft sock, maybe the name of the base. Actually, I think I have it here. This is her soft sock base, which is 80/20 merino nylon. And so it's a fingering weight yarn, and since this is a DK weight pattern, I'm just holding it double. And I think it's a little bit heavy for a DK, and so I had to actually go down a needle size from recommended for the pattern. So the fabric is a little bit denser and not as drapey as I might have wanted, but I'm hoping that when I block it, it will be a little bit drapier. I think it will. And even if it's a little bit more of kind of like a rigid fabric, I guess, I still think I'm going to be really happy with it. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with how this is going. What else? I guess that's it. Let me give you a I'll give you a close-up of the yarn, and then I'll also tell you that for those of you who love Nalthus's, my husband's names that he gives my projects, I thought this was a really fun one. He called this one Cocoa Powder. It's a little red to be cocoa powder, I feel like, but you know, I kind of like it. So here, let me give you a little bit of a close-up of the color. There it is. Really pretty. Also got to get that thumbnail photo, you'll know. But yeah, so this is going to be my cocoa powder sweater or shirt. I just love the names that he gives them. I should put the, name all the project pages on my Ravelry. I should name them the name that Nalthus gives the sweater. That would be really fun. I'm trying to remember if there are any that I haven't shared with you recently The Woodwardia, if y'all remember that one that I knit out of wormwood, Grenouille wormwood, which is that like minty color with speckles of like brown and black and blue. Very predictably, I feel like he called that one mint chocolate chip. I think that one just is definitely mint chocolate chip. It just has that feeling. And then, are there any others? I don't remember. I think I probably shared them with you, or if not, I can't remember. But anyway, those are the things that I'm actively working on right now. That deadline for me for the test knit is November 15th, and I think I should be able to finish it pretty quick. I actually did most of that on the plane last night. So on our way back from our vacation, it was like a 5-hour flight, and I knit most of the flight. And I had only knit those like shoulder pieces to begin with before we got on the plane. So everything else that I did was on the plane. So I think it'll go pretty fast. I'm almost done with the back flat part, and then I do the front back flat part, and then I join them together and I do the body and the round. So yeah, those are my works in progress. I'll just quickly mention the works that I have hibernating right now, you could say, that I haven't worked on in a while. I have like a pair of socks that I'm working on, those like Grenouille Lampblack broken rib socks. I've not really touched. I really think a lot of it is, if you are interested, go back to my last episode. You can hear me talk about the needles that I'm using. For some reason, I don't know if it's like the Addy needles versus Chow for the small circulars. I'm just not loving. So I need to switch back to Chow. I'll probably order some soon because I have a pair of socks that I'm going to knit for my sister. Oops, hopefully. Well, she probably already knows. I think I talked about it before. Hannah, if you're watching this, spoilers, sorry. But I have a pair of socks that I want to knit for her that I want to definitely do on Chow. So I'm probably going to try to order those soon. And then, other hibernating whips. The Madewell Duke sweater I cast on, I actually have it here. I can show you very quickly. I just have done like the neck, and then I kind of paused on this because I wanted to finish Luminaria, so I spent way more time on Luminaria. So this one is on pause. I'm in the raglan increases. Oh, Lauren, he's doing the stretch. And are you gonna leave or are you gonna stay? Big exhale. Okay. Okay. So that one is hibernating, and I may not pick that one up again for a while. I'll talk about the rest of my knitting goals for the rest of the year. I'm sorry, y'all. I feel like this one's going to be really long, but hopefully you can hang in there with me. And then my other kind of hibernating one is my baseball cowl, my Mariner's cowl. So those of you who have not watched before, I knit a cowl, and I knit a different color stripe based on the results of the Mariners game that day. So that at the end of the season, I'll have a complete log of the Mariners season, their wins and losses. And so that one I'm hoping to finish soon, but maybe that's a good segue. Actually, I was going to do acquisitions first. Okay, I'll press pause on that, and we'll talk about baseball stuff in a second. Come here. Do you want to be covered again? Come here. Sit. Good boy. Okay. Okay. There you go. Okay. Acquisitions. So I have a couple of acquisitions to share. The acquisitions, I already shared the mini skein sets that I got for giveaways. So one of my acquisitions was I also got the Stress Knits Fall Minis, these ones. So I also have these. That's kind of an acquisition for myself. I got one as a giveaway and one, or as a prize rather, and one for myself. A couple of other things that I got. So I got this beautiful pink yarn from, you guessed it, Grenouille. When I ordered the mini skein set for the prize, I also ordered this beautiful soft pink yarn. This colorway is called Pink Moonstone. And I got this yarn because I have in my mind this idea for what I want to do with some of my Advent minis, because I also ordered the Grenouille Advent for this year as well. And I really want to make a striped sweater with a main, kind of like the Stripey turtle tank, where I have a main color and then I have contrast colors. So I switch between a contrast color and then back to the main color and then a different contrast color and then the main color, that kind of stripe sequence. So I really want to do that with some of my my Grenouille Advent minis once I get those this year. And I want to use this pink as the main color, and I'm also considering holding it with either mohair or suri as well. I think that could be really nice. Just to kind of make it really smooshy, like smooth stripes. I think the mohair will give it like a really consistent feel throughout. So I think I'll do like a cream or like a light pink mohair or suri and hold that with my throughout, and then switch between this color and contrast colors. And I think I'll try to pick out some of the lighter colored minis so that it's like a low contrast stripy sweater. I think could be really nice. So we'll see. I don't have a pattern in mind. I may just do it myself and we'll see how it turns out. And if I like it, then I could share it with y'all. If you are interested in a stripy Advent sweater, we'll see. It may not be a long time before I knit this, but that is one of my acquisitions. Then I also got a kit, a Stripey Turtles Knit kit from Melanie for myself. So she sent me the Forest Walk set that I knit into a tank, but on release day, I just really felt like I wanted to have the original. So I guess this isn't exactly the original. My colors are not, this is the original tank, and this does not use Melanie's yarn. But we picked out colors that were kind of inspired by the original, my original tank, to be one of the sets, and this is that set. And I really love it, and I just wanted to have it. And to be honest with you, I don't think I'm going to knit this. I think I'm going to keep this as like a memento for my first pattern design and my collaboration that I did with Melanie, and just how lovely that was working with her and how much I love the yarn and the colors. And so I think this one is just going to be for me to keep, this yarn. And I just am really happy with it, and it's beautiful. And yeah, I'm glad that I have it. So this is just a yarn pet that I will keep. And that came in the last couple weeks. And then my last acquisition, I don't remember if I mentioned this. I know I talked about it on Instagram. I had been really eyeing Purl Soho's linen quill. It's this beautiful yarn that's like a blend of wool and alpaca and linen. And it's been like kind of pretty big right now as part of the half and half triangles wrap. I don't know if y'all have seen Caddy Jack's Knits or Stress Knits. Stacy of Stress Knits has been talking about it as well. There's like a pretty lengthy knit along going on before Rhinebeck for the half and half triangles wrap, which is this big like square shawl that's just two diagonal triangles that are kind of together, that uses Purl Soho linen quill. And I'm not super interested in making that shawl or that wrap, but I did really want to try out the yarn. So I got some Purl Soho linen quill to make a Brioche-alicious shawl by Andrea Mowry. I'm not sure if y'all are familiar. It's a crescent shawl that has sections of brioche and garter. So you kind of do a brioche crescent, and then you do a garter crescent, and then a brioche crescent, and then a garter crescent, and then a brioche, and then a garter, I think is how it goes. So there's one main color and three contrast colors. And I had these specific colors like stuck in my head. Or at least I had the main color and a couple of the contrast colors really set. And one of them was out of stock for a while, so I was checking Purl Soho every day to see if this color was back in stock. And the day that they got it back in stock, I ordered it. I was just like, I really want to make this, so I ordered it. I don't know when I'll cast it on, but I picked this color. This is honey pink for the main color, which I love. I've been loving this color recently. I don't know if y'all have noticed that about me, but this like really light peachy pink is just very me right now. And then for the contrast colors, I picked these 3 colors. So it's almost like a retro primary colors type thing. This one is chestnut red, I think. Yes, this one's chestnut red. This one is vintage celadon. And then this one is turmeric yellow. And this is the one that was out of stock that I was waiting on, and I just was really set on it. They didn't have like other yellow colors that I liked. This one was just the one that I needed. And so I got this yarn, and I'll hold it up with these two. And yeah, I'm really excited. I think it's gonna be a really great project. And I actually think Patty Jack's Knits is gonna do like just a general linen quill knit along, so I may try to cast this on as part of that. But I also have way too many things that I want to knit and way too many goals, and so I don't actually know if I will get to do that on the timeline that I want to. But yeah, that's all my acquisitions. Maybe that is a good time for me to talk about generally just like knitting goals, what my goals are, but also just like the idea of setting ambitious knitting goals and like how they affect me when I meet them and when I don't meet them. And if this is like a boring conversation for you, that's fine, and like you can skip ahead a little bit. But I actually spent some time talking with Nafis about this. I love to set goals. I'm a very kind of goal-oriented person, and I love setting goals even if there's no like real reason to set a deadline. I still will set a deadline for myself. So it's probably not a surprise then that my knitting, I always set goals for my knitting. Almost every project that I knit, when I start it or like partway through the project, I have in my mind an idea for like, I want to be done with this project at this time. And especially when there are things like holidays, like especially if I'm knitting something for a specific date, of course I set a goal for that, but like holidays I'll have in mind, or like when we went on vacation, and I had ideas for like things I wanted to finish knitting by the time we went on vacation. Or of course like the end of the year is a very like clear break in my mind, I think, of what I want to have done by the end of the year. And I think I tend to be pretty ambitious with the goals that I set for myself. If you're interested in seeing like what my goals were for this whole year for 2021, I posted a video at the beginning of the year kind of summarizing that. And so generally the goals that I had for myself, I wanted to knit 8 sweaters was the big one. And then I don't even remember a lot of the other goals. I wanted to weave, which I haven't done. I wanted to try intarsia, which I have done and I loved. I think, I don't even remember, did I set a pair of socks I wanted to knit? Maybe 6? Definitely not going to make that. But anyway, the big one that's been kind of on my mind is the 8 sweaters. And when I set this goal, I was determined to knit 8 full sleeve length sweaters. So t-shirts, tanks, bralettes, all of that does not count. Cropped, it can be cropped, but it has to have full sleeves, or at least 3/4 length sleeves that like past the elbow. And so far this year I have knit 5, and I've got about 2.5 months left, less than that, just over 2 months left of the year to knit 3 sweaters. And I'm gonna be honest with you, there are a couple reasons I think that I'm behind right now. One is because I knit 4 stripy turtle tanks. That took up a lot of my like garment knitting. I stopped knitting sweaters for a while in the middle and spent a lot of my time and dedication on stripy turtle tanks. And by the rules that I set, the definition that I set for my own goals, those don't count. So those don't count. I'm also knitting the Riley tee as part of the test knit right now, and the sleeves are like just above the elbow. And based on my rules, that doesn't count. So that one won't count. And then other reasons I think that I'm a little bit behind now are just that I'm not knitting as much this year as I did last year. And the reason is because I'm not quarantined all the time. So last year, a lot of my free time, all of my free time, basically every minute that I wasn't working or like cooking or interacting with Noffice or whatever, I was knitting. I was knitting all the time. And now I go into the office like for work and, you know, have my commute time, and I don't knit, you know, in between things at work anymore because I'm in the office more, or, you know, for that reason. I also do things in the evenings with other people. I sometimes see my friends, we travel, I've had family visiting. So I don't knit all night every night anymore. And I knit 8 sweaters last year, and I thought that I could knit 8 again this year, and I don't think I'm gonna make it. I might, I don't know. So anyway, I've been trying to rationalize with myself not meeting this goal, and I hate not meeting my goals. And it's not a good combination. 1, setting really ambitious goals that are hard to meet, and then 2, getting really upset when I don't meet them. So I set goals for myself for our vacation, and I was really upset when I didn't meet them. Not so upset that it like negatively affected our trip or anything. Like I was able to move past it, and like, you know, it was fine, but I really wanted to finish the shawl before we left. I wanted to finish our hats before I left. I actually wanted to originally finish that Madewell dupe sweater before the trip as well. And then I switched that goal because I knew I wasn't gonna have enough time to knit because of work and other stuff. I said, okay, I just wanna finish my stripy turtle tank before the trip. And I didn't finish that. And I talked about the reasons why. Work was hectic. I, you know, didn't have time to knit. But it was still really disappointing. And so I'm trying to adjust my goals for the rest of this year to see if I can be a little bit kinder to myself. I don't know. Noffice was really encouraging me to adjust so that I don't get so disappointed at the end. And I think it's a really good idea. So I'm going to try to do that, I think. But basically, instead of adjusting and lowering my goal for the number of sweaters that I want to finish by the end of the year, I'm going to be more lenient with myself, I think, for what counts. I think I'm going to count the Riley tee because the sleeves are like just above the elbow. So I'm going to count that one. So that will be 6. And then I really am hoping that I can knit 2 more before the end of the year, and that'll make my 8. If not, though, I may try to consider the 4 stripy turtle tanks that I knit to count as 1. Just add the 4 of them up and say together that counts as 1 sweater. It's not a sweater, and you know, I wouldn't say that, okay, I knit this shawl and that counts as a sweater. The only reason that I'm doing this is because I stopped knitting garments to knit those stripy turtle tanks, or I stopped knitting sweaters, and also the stripy turtle tank is a garment, so like it kind of feels like it. I don't know. Y'all tell me, is this super cheating? Like, I also know that you probably think I'm wild for like spending so much time thinking about this and like trying to rationalize it to myself, but I don't know. I'm hopeful that I'm able to knit 2 more sweaters. If I'm not, at least 1 would be good. As far as what the sweaters will be, that is a really fun thing. So I guess, let me tell you what I'm hoping I can knit by the end of this year. So I want to finish the stripy turtle tank that I'm currently knitting. I want to finish the Riley tee that I'm currently knitting. I want to finish my mariner's cowl for sure. I want to knit a baby hat for one of Noffice's best friends. Just had a baby. And so I want to knit a hat for their baby. And I also would like to knit the other gray hat. So I knit that gray hat for myself. And I want to knit Noffice's gray hat, so he has that as well. I mentioned I want to knit a pair of socks for my sister. So I really want to do that. And then I have 2 sweaters that I want to knit. I want to knit the Strya cardigan by Andrea Mowry as part of the Instagram Insta Friends knit along that Jess of La Mercerie put together. I really want to knit that one. I love it. It's like a stripy brioche cardigan, and it's really nice, and I really want to knit it. And then I also want to knit, I have some Lampblack, Grenouille Lampblack tweed in her DK base, and I really want to knit, I originally kind of thought a turtleneck, but I think I want to knit the Cleo sweater by Rachel of Rachel Knits Things on Instagram. I think that would be really nice, and I think she's also going to do a knit along for it. And so those are the two. If I'm able to do two, those are the two I want to do before the end of this year. Yeah, so if I'm able to get those two sweaters done, the hats, the gray hat, the baby hat, the socks, and then finish what I'm currently working on, that would be everything that I'm wanting. That would be kind of like my stretch goal. And then I guess I'm kind of creating in my mind this like fallout plan almost. So like if it turns out that I don't have the time that I think I'm going to knit, so like I know we're going back home for Thanksgiving and then we're also going back home for Christmas. So if I am not knitting any of that time, or like if we're doing a ton of stuff with friends, or if work gets really hectic again and for some reason I just like don't knit any of that time, or I don't knit a lot of time in the next couple months, I'll be okay with just one sweater plus the other stuff. I hope. But my eye is on the prize. I want to get both sweaters done. I'm not even, like, my brain was starting to think that if I could do 3 sweaters, that would be really good, but that's not reasonable. I need to stop. I need to pull my goals back. But anyway, do any of you do this as well? Like, does anyone else do crazy ambitious knitting goals that are like really hard to meet, but you still set them for yourselves? I don't know. The feeling when you get there is so good. And I just love to have goals. Like I love to have in my mind like a schedule, a plan. Like I really like to have a plan. And I think that's honestly where my mind goes a lot of the time. When I'm not actively thinking about something else, my mind goes to my knitting plan. I think about like, okay, this is what I'm knitting now. This is when I think I'm going to finish it. This is what I want to knit next. And this is, when I think I'm going to finish that. I don't know. I think I'm a very like logistical person. I really like to think about the plan. I like to think about the plan. So anyway, that was my little brief discussion of knitting goals. And I think that's the end of my knitting crafting content. I had some other stuff that I wanted to share with you. So if you're interested, I'm gonna chat about life stuff and our vacation and maybe share some photos. So if you're interested in hanging around, and baseball stuff too, please stick around. If not, I'll see you next time. But first wanted to talk about baseball. So it's been a while. It has been, I guess it's been a month. The season ended since I last podcasted, and what an end to the season it was. I am really excited to get back to my Mariners cowl because the end is going to be really fun to knit. So if you didn't follow the Mariners this year, or you don't really follow baseball, Seattle Mariners, first I'll just start off by saying the Seattle Mariners have the longest playoff drought in major American sports, so including, or men's major American sports, so including MLB, NFL, baseball, football, NHL, hockey, and is the other one that count? I think MLS is also included in that, soccer as well. But the playoff drought is 20 years. So, or it's been since 2001. 2001 is the last year that the Mariners made the playoffs. So it's been a long time. The Mariners that's not just like haven't won a World Series or like haven't won the whole thing. That's made the playoffs. The Mariners have not made the playoffs since 2001. So, the Mariners were kind of in it for a while. In the middle, it seemed like they were in wild card contention, but we're always like, a few games behind. And it got to the point where it's like, all right, they're going to have to go on a pretty intense winning streak, or just like win like 10 out of their last 12 games or something like that if they're going to make it. They needed to win. They needed the teams ahead of them to lose. And for the last couple of weeks of the season, that's kind of what happened. They kept winning. They swept the Oakland Athletics twice. They won they played the A's 4-game series and a 3-game series in the last like 2 weeks of the season, and they won all 7 games. They just couldn't lose to the A's. They played a really strong series against the Angels and then ended the season in a series against the Angels, and they were at one point they were, you know, half a game behind, 1 game behind, even in the wild card spot. And so basically, to be honest with you, they were at home for the last couple series of the season. I pretty much dropped everything and went to every baseball game that I could. I went to, I think, almost all of the last 2 series. I think I may have missed 1 game, but I went to like all 6 of the last games, or 5 of the last 6 games, just because it was a really fun atmosphere. And for the last series, the Mariners Stadium, T-Mobile Park, was completely sold out for the last 3 games. Like 40,000 people in the stands. People were there to cheer on the Mariners and hope that they would make it to the playoffs. And going into the last day of the season, it was Sunday. It was a Sunday, and the Mariners needed to win that game, and they needed either the Red Sox or the Yankees or both to lose for them to go to a tiebreaker game. To then, if they ended up, it was a complicated situation. You know, there could have been a 3-team tie or a 4-team tie or whatever, but that would put them in a situation where they would be playing another game, and at least one other game, and based on the results of that 1 or 2 games, if they won and did well in that extra game setup, then they would be in the playoffs in the wild card game. So I went to the final game, and unfortunately the Mariners lost. It ended up not mattering, though, because both the Yankees and the Red Sox won. So even if the Mariners had won, they would not have made it. But the Mariners finished with over 90 wins, and it was kind of an unexpected season for the Mariners. They were not expected to be super relevant, and they really outperformed expectations and gave us this incredible stretch at the end, which was just really fun. It was really enjoyable to watch. The atmosphere in the park those last couple games was insane. There was like 2 games in the last 2 series that were probably some of the best games I ever watched in my life. Just the atmosphere was insane. Everyone was so pumped and cheering, and it was a really unique and cool experience. And sorry, I'm even like getting kind of emotional about it. It was like a really cool thing to experience. There was a game, I think it was was it Friday or Saturday? There was a game that looked like the Mariners were likely going to lose. And then Mitch Haniger came through and hit a single in, I think it was maybe the 8th inning. I don't remember the exact specifics. This is something that also is crazy to me about like baseball people, like the people that I work with, or just like general, honestly, I feel like general baseball fans have really good memories and like remember exact situations and like players, years, scenarios from like all the baseball games they've ever watched, and I just don't. Like, I can't remember, you know, I know generally what happened, but I don't remember the exact inning or the exact situation or any of that. But anyway, I remember that Mitch Haniger hit a single, and the instant that the ball hit the gap, I just burst into tears. I just could not stop crying. And I didn't even realize that I was so, like, emotionally tied. I mean, I knew I was emotional about it. Of course, I was, like, you know, I cared a lot about the result, but I was so emotionally tied to it that as soon as it happened, I just burst. But anyway, yeah, it was some of the best baseball, most fun baseball I've watched, and I really enjoyed it, and it makes me really excited about the future. I'm really excited to watch Mariners baseball again next year. I think there's a really bright future ahead, and I'm excited to be a part of it as well. So if any of you are baseball fans or not baseball fans that don't have a team affiliation, I'm welcoming you to be a Mariners fan now. It's a fun time, and I think you might enjoy what's to come. So that's most of the baseball that I have to chat about. If you followed me for a while, you know the other teams that I kind of follow as well are the Cardinals and the Marlins. The Marlins are my husband's favorite team, and the Cardinals are my whole family are Cardinals fans. I grew up a Cardinals fan. So the Marlins did not make the playoffs and had somewhat of a just generally unsuccessful season, I would say. But the Cardinals actually did. They went on a 17-game winning streak toward the end of the season. Just insane. It seemed I thought they weren't gonna make the playoffs. I had kind of counted them out. I was like, okay, they're done. Like, that's it. The Cardinals are done. And I hadn't been even watching a ton of their games. I've kind of transitioned to watching more Mariners games now that I work for the Mariners. And then Cardinals games anyway. I just have over time slowly moved more and more towards watching more Mariners games than Cardinals games. But anyway, I had not really been watching the Cardinals, and then all of a sudden it was like they could not lose. They just kept winning, and they won 17 games, and they ended up making the wild card. And unfortunately, they did play in the wild card game against the Dodgers, and they lost. They were winning the wild card game 1-0 for a while, and then just couldn't pull it off. Alex Reyes kind of blew it in the, again, I don't remember the inning because I don't remember the specifics, but yeah, so that was disappointing, but also just was really cool that they were able to make it after what seemed like, you know, a bust of a season. So that was fun to see them make it. Disappointing they didn't. And then the playoffs have continued, and it's actually the World Series is about to start, and it's going to be between the Astros and the Braves. I don't have a strong preference between them. I don't remember if I talked about this on the podcast before, but there was a big cheating scandal with the Astros. So I'm not a huge Astros fan. They're also in the same division as the Mariners, so you may be rooting for the Braves, but also just want to say that I don't love that the Braves are named the Braves. Any of the teams that are named after like Native American names, just not my favorite. I don't love that. They also do this chant called the Tomahawk Chop that's pretty disrespectful to Native Americans and seem pretty resistant to negative feedback that they've received from like Native American folks about their name. So just want to say that. But as far as the actual like players and the team goes, I kind of like the team. They've got a lot of young, exciting players. So, you know, I don't really have a strong rooting preference, but I will probably be watching some of those games, and definitely wish that it was Cardinals Mariners, but maybe it will be next year. So anyway, that's all the baseball stuff I have to talk about. I know I've already been talking forever, so maybe I'll try to do this quickly, but I did also want to talk about just kind of generally what's been going on in my life the last month, the last couple weeks. I know I often talk about like what we've been baking and cooking and any traveling we've done and that kind of stuff, so I wanted to share a little bit of that with you if you are interested. Also just kind of like to do it because I think of these videos as like a way for me to log and like catalog what's happening in my life. And so if I chat a little bit now, then later when I look back, like if I have kids someday and they someday find this podcast, they can see what's up in my life, or I can go back later and look and see what was up on October 25th, Monday, October 25th. So, okay, let's go back a few weeks. I talked about baseball. The Mariners went on their insane stretch, and I basically dropped everything and went to baseball games for like a week straight. After that, I did have like a little celebration with some of my coworkers, and I made my apple pie, which is a recipe I got from my mom. It's an apple cream pie that is so good. It's not a traditional apple pie. It has a like heavy cream and like butter, milk, sugar filling with cinnamon apples, and it's so yummy. It's really good. But we actually went, and when we went to Cascades National Park, which I think I talked about maybe in my last episode, I don't remember. I think we had already gone when I went to Cascades. But we went apple picking as well, and so we got fresh apples, and I used those apples to make this apple pie, and it was delicious. So that was one thing. And then the next weekend, my sister and Hannah and her boyfriend Jack came to visit us, and we just had the best time. It was so much fun. They came, we went to visit UW because my sister is considering University of Washington for grad school. So we went around UW campus, and we made sourdough pizza, which was really good. And then I also made those cruffins. If you guys have watched before, if you followed me on Instagram, there's this specific cinnamon sugar cruffin recipe that I've made now, I think 3 times. A cruffin is a croissant muffin. It's basically a laminated pastry that you form into these like little spirals and then put into muffin tins. And it's so good. I really think it's like the best thing I make. The best thing I've made. So I made those again to share with Hannah and Jack, and then we made sourdough pizza. We also went kayaking on Lake Union, and what else did we do? We went and did a chocolate factory tour at Theo, which is a chocolate company based here in Seattle, and that was really fun. And we went on a brewery tour in Ballard as well. So we just went kind of brewery hopping to a couple of breweries and bars in Ballard, and that was really fun. We had a great time, and we loved having them visit, and just seeing them was really nice. It was kind of our first visitors that we've had in a while because of the pandemic, so it was amazing to have them. So we had them visit, and then right after they left was probably one of the most hectic work weeks I've ever had in my life. I knew that we were leaving on vacation the following Saturday. So there was kind of a project that we needed to deliver, and I needed to finish it before I wanted to finish it before I went on vacation. So I didn't have to worry about when we went on vacation. And so I ended up working a ton that week. Worked pretty late into the evening, like 3 or 4 days that week, and just didn't have a ton of time for a lot else. Was just working like 15-hour days for some of those days. But I'm really happy with how it ended up. The project turned out really cool, and I was able to kind of finish it before I went on vacation, which was really good. So that was a kind of hectic time. But after that, we went on vacation. So, I forgot to share also. I actually kind of already talked about this a little bit, but then that Friday was the Hometown 9 Diamond Dinner. So right before going on vacation on Saturday, I went to the dinner on Friday night. And then Saturday morning we left. We flew to Washington Dulles and rented a car there, and then we drove over to Virginia to start our vacation at Shenandoah National Park, which was so beautiful. And there's a road, basically just down the middle of Shenandoah National Park called, my words are not happening properly, called Skyline Drive. And we basically just drove down Skyline Drive. There were a couple of hikes that we did there. We had a couple of sunrises and sunsets that we caught in Shenandoah National Park that were seriously some of the most beautiful things I've ever seen in my life. I can try to include a photo here as well. So beautiful. And it's really different because part of the reason we wanted to go here is that this part of the country is really beautiful in the fall because there's a lot of deciduous trees that change colors in the fall, and that is not what happens here in Washington. When you go hiking, a lot of what you're surrounded by are pines and fir trees, coniferous trees that don't change color. They're green all the time. So yeah, it was gorgeous. We got to see some beautiful fall colors, and it's also just really expansive. Like, the Shenandoah National Park is almost like on a ridge, and then you can look either way, and out you just see these like valleys, beautiful hills and valleys with trees. They're just really beautiful. So we really enjoyed Shenandoah National Park, and then right at the bottom of the Skyline Drive, we hopped on the Blue Ridge Parkway, which is a beautiful drive through Virginia, North Carolina, and it takes you all the way to the Great Smoky Mountain National Park in North Carolina and Tennessee. And so we drove the Blue Ridge Parkway for like 3.5 days. And so we would just drive and then stop for the night, drive, you know. And we stopped and did a ton of activities along our way. We did a lot of hiking. We stopped and did apple picking one day. What else did we do? I mean, mostly just like hiking and looking at nature. That's the kind of trip that Nafis and I really like to do. We hiked the Appalachian Trail, which was really fun. That was actually in Great Smoky Mountain National Park. So after we made it through the Blue Ridge Parkway, we went to Great Smoky Mountain National Park and did a few days there. We stayed in Gatlinburg, Tennessee, which was not what I expected. It is very, I guess I'll just say kind of, it's a very touristy town. It's definitely set up for tourists, Gatlinburg. But we did do a moonshine tasting there, which was very fun. A lot of really unique flavors that were really fun. And then, yeah, we did more hiking, a couple of, or I guess just one fun kind of thing that happened. We went through this area of Great Smoky Mountain National Park called Cades Cove. And it's just like a one-way road that goes around some like historical sites in the park. And we got stopped for like an hour and we didn't know why we were stopped. We were just stuck on this road. And it ended up that we got stopped because there was a bear and 3 cubs, a black bear and 3 cubs, that had decided to take a nap on the road. So they went and just like lied down in the middle of the road in front of traffic. And, you know, you can't go and like tap on the bear's shoulder and say move. So we just waited while the bear was hanging out. And we actually, by the time we went through, we were able to see the bears. They were like up kind of close to the road and they were just, we actually saw them kind of running off and like hanging out. So that was really cool. We saw a bear elsewhere in the park as well, black bear. We saw tons of deer. We saw turkeys. Yeah, it was really a cool trip. And then we also ended our trip in Asheville, North Carolina, and had some of the best food in Asheville. And also just like along the trip, we had some really good food. We had really good barbecue. But in Asheville, we ate brunch at this place called Early Girl Eatery, I think, and it was so good. Some of the best food I've eaten in my life, I swear. But it was really yummy. It was like cinnamon biscuit French toast with fried chicken and these like cinnamon apples. It was so good. And there was also this drink called the Dreamsicle that I had, and it was like orange cream with like peaches. It was so good. I'm going to try to recreate it. But also in Asheville, we went to an art market, and that was so fun. It was just like a whole bunch of stalls of creators, of like artists selling a lot of their stuff. There was like pottery, there was art, there was jewelry, all kinds of things, candles, a ton of candles. I bought a couple of items that I can share. So I bought this mug. It has my morning tea in it. Really cute little mug with a leaf pattern on it that I love. It's just like a little tumbler. It doesn't have a handle, so I guess it's not a mug. So I got that. And I'll try to link the artists below as well if you're interested in checking them out. And then I also got this candle, which is really cool. It was actually a collaboration between a ceramicist and the candle company. So, oh, it smells so good. It's Chardonnay flavored candle, or Chardonnay scented candle. But the ceramicist made the vessel, and then the candle company poured the candle in it. And so it's kind of a collaboration. And actually, I was talking to Nafis about this, and he said something that I thought was really insightful. He said, isn't most art a collaboration? And the example he used was with like knitting. He was saying when you knit something, it's a collaboration between you and the designer of the project and the dyer of the yarn. And I just thought that was so cool. Like thinking about it that way is just like, man, whenever I make something, it's not, I mean, it's me that's making it, but it's like, it's kind of a collaboration between a lot of us that like come together, or not a lot of us, but some of us folks that come together to, you know, make this one item or creation. Or anyway, I thought that was really insightful. So yeah, we went to the art market, and that was so much fun. And then, yeah, and then we headed home. So then we drove to Charlotte, and we flew back to Seattle from Charlotte. That was late last night. And then we went and picked up Norman. And yeah, so then today, that was Sunday, and today is Monday, and I actually have today off work. So I spent all day today doing a lot of catching up on things. I went to the grocery store, did a ton of chores, started laundry, unpacking, vacuuming and dusting and that kind of stuff, cleaning. A lot of not fun and super boring stuff. But I also wanted to make sure that I was able to record a podcast today, so I was able to do that. And then, yeah, I guess just upcoming in the next week, we have a couple of fun things. Some of the really good food we had on our trip inspired us to try to make copycats of some of that food. So one thing that we had was one place we got these. They were called fried Brussels sprouts. And they were Brussels sprouts. I guess they were pan-fried. They weren't like breaded or anything, but they were like pan-fried Brussels sprouts. They had, I think it was feta cheese or blue cheese. I'm not sure. But like a crumbly cheese. They had like honey roasted nuts and bacon, and also these pickled red onions that were so good. So we're gonna try to recreate that Brussels sprout recipe, just kind of do our own. I think we'll probably bake the Brussels sprouts rather than frying them, but otherwise we're gonna add the cheese and maybe not bacon, but I actually made pickled red onions today. I'd never pickled anything before. I'd never done anything like that. So well, cross your fingers. I hope it turns out good. It was very easy to do. So we're going to try pickled red onion. And then that also inspired me to try to use pickled red onion elsewhere. So I am making a loaf of bread tomorrow, a sourdough loaf. And then I'm going to have some like ricotta toast with like tomatoes and pickled onion. And hopefully that turns out really good. And then let's see. Oh, we also got, there was like a spice shop in, where was it? Blowing Rock, North Carolina, maybe? And we got this like little spice packet that you can use to like season your meat, or, you know, you can use whatever. And I think we're going to try to use that as well. So that's upcoming this week. We're going to make a vacation inspired dinner, I guess. What else is up? On Wednesday with one of my best friends, we're going to the James Taylor concert. I love James Taylor. I've never been to his concert, but my mom, I think, has been like 3 or 4 times. She actually told me that she thinks that she was pregnant with me one time she went to a James Taylor concert. So I guess I've been partially to a James Taylor concert. I certainly don't remember it, but we're going on Wednesday, and I'm really excited about that. He's coming to Tacoma, so we're going to go to the James Taylor concert. Also, some of our friends are having an apple and chocolate fest type gathering, so I'm going to make that apple pie again, I think. Maybe grab some chocolate and head over there, and that should be really fun. We have some friends that are going to come for dinner on Friday, and I'm gonna try to recreate that dreamsicle drink that I talked about. I mean, I guess, I don't know, it feels like a summer drink, but also it's like it's like orange, so it's kind of like Halloween-y vibe, maybe. I'm also gonna make pumpkin bread, chocolate chip pumpkin bread, which I'm really excited about as well. And then we also wanted to make, for next Sunday, for Sunday breakfast, we wanted to make Eggs Benedict. And I haven't made sourdough English muffins in a while. Actually, I think I've only made them once, so I really want to try to make them again. So I think next Sunday we're going to try to make sourdough English muffins. And Nofis is going to do some hollandaise and poached eggs, and we're going to have a lovely Eggs Benedict on Sunday morning. So that'll be Halloween, I guess. So yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be a busy week, but hopefully a little bit more chill than the last few weeks have been. I'm hoping that I get a little bit more relaxed time to knit, gosh, I'm really sorry that it got really dark here. I'm glad that I showed all the knitting stuff before it got really dark. It's what is it, 5:30 in Seattle, and now that's when it starts to get dark, and it's also a very cloudy day, so we're not getting a lot of light right now. But anyway, that is all. That's it. That's all I wanted to talk about. I think this went on for approximately forever, and if you stuck with me all the way to the end, you are a champion. But I felt like it had been a while, and I just had a lot that I wanted to say and catch up on, so hopefully it's not another month before I podcast again. Hopefully, I definitely will before then, because I have prizes for the Stripey Turtle knit along, so I will definitely be podcasting probably in the next, week or two. And yeah, that's all I got. So I hope you do lots of knitting and watch lots of baseball, and have a great week. Bye.